Welcome to Memecoin Mooners Moonbase, episode 4. I'm Ryan.
I'm Krusty.
And I'm Michael. And I'm pleased to announce our special guest today, Jeff Bezoge.
Yeah, good to be here. I'm Jeff Bezoge. That's the alias that I go by. I'm the founder of Bezoge Earth, which is started off as a meme coin, basically, and now we've evolved into much more than just a meme. We're currently in development of our own play-to-earn MMORPG called Legends of Bezogia. We have already almost completed our NFT sale, where we've so far sold 3,800 out of 4,096 Bezogis, which are NFT Bezogis, which are characters that you can use in the Legends of Bezogia game. And yeah, we have about 16,000 holders, some of which I believe are listening to this call right now, because we had some nice price action today that kept everyone very excited. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I got to say, congratulations on that. That was a pretty big pump going on today. It's exciting.
It was. I was out for dinner, and it sort of, it shocked me a little bit that I was with my girlfriend for dinner, and I couldn't stop looking at my phone. I think she got a little bit annoyed at me, but that's part of the job.
That's bound to happen.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the game. Actually, we could start from the beginning if you want. How'd you get into crypto, and how'd you get to where you are right now?
Yeah, so I got into crypto about, let me work this out, about 9 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago. I think 10 years ago now.
You're telling me that you were in crypto in 2011?
Yeah, about then.
Well, okay. Congratulations.
I was in a very funny way. So I was, I'll tell you the story because it's quite a funny story. I used to get paid in US dollars in China. And I used to have to go to the bank every month to cash out, like exchange my US dollars for Chinese renminbi, right? And I went into the bank one day because I got paid off. So I had 3 months salary, like $6,000 or something. I didn't get paid very much back then. And I went into the bank and I exchanged my money, and they said, do you want cash, as in renminbi cash, or do you want to deposit into your bank account? And I said, I'd just deposit into my bank account. And they deposited it into my bank account and gave me the cash. So they gave me like $6,000 in cash and deposited $6,000 into my bank account. So I got home and I thought I better empty that bank account. And I emptied it into Bitcoin. So I bought Bitcoin, $6,000 of Bitcoin. And that was when Bitcoin was, I think it was like less than $100 a Bitcoin. I bought it on a Chinese exchange that doesn't exist anymore. And in the time that in the morning, like buying the Bitcoin to the evening, it had already gone up like 4 times in price. And when the bank called me in the evening, they said, you need to come back and give us that money back, because they knew it was me. And I just went back and gave them the cash back because I already had like 4 times my money. So that was how it started. And that was kind of how I got into Bitcoin. And I thought, okay, this is interesting. And then me and my business partner at the time, because we had just started our own company as I got paid off, had noticed that there was a difference in price, like arbitrage, that you can do arbitrage right now on Bitcoin, but not to the extent that we did. So back in the day, there was an exchange in Russia called BTCE. I don't know if any of you know about that, but it got shut down by the US government for money laundering. So it doesn't exist anymore either. But back in the day, that exchange had a 50% difference in price compared to the Chinese exchange. China was 50% more expensive. So we would buy Litecoin in China, which was the same price in Russia and China. We would send Litecoin to the Russian exchange. We would switch it for Bitcoin and then send the Bitcoin back and then switch it for Litecoin. And we were making 50% a trade. So this is back when Bitcoin was like, like $200, $300. But it was like $500 or $600 in China. You know what I mean? It was a completely different price. And the only way that you could buy in China was by having a Chinese bank account. And the only way that you could sign up for the Russian one was by having an international passport. Like Chinese people couldn't sign up. So it was a very rare arbitrage opportunity where you kind of had to be a foreigner living in China in order to take advantage of it. So I remember me and my business partner at the time, we were just sitting in our living room. We lived together, and we're just like sitting there in our underwear, just like trading Bitcoin all day, all night. We didn't sleep because we had to do it all manually. There was no bots or anything at that time. So we were literally just not sleeping for days on end, trading Bitcoin back and forward. So yeah, that's how I got into Bitcoin. A funny story. I thought I would share that because it's a kind of funny story on how I got in.
That's absolutely incredible. I can't even believe that, what a unique opportunity that was. And for you to recognize it and take advantage of it, it's pretty amazing.
We couldn't believe it actually, because we were just, the amount of money in our bank accounts was just going up 50% every half an hour. And we couldn't believe it. We're like, are we going to be able to withdraw this? And then one day we did like a big withdrawal and we're like, actually, yeah, that worked. And we couldn't believe it. Because we literally just were amazing. We were literally just printing money, right? And crypto wasn't really a thing at that time. It was a very niche thing, right? And so until we actually did a big withdrawal and we thought, actually, this worked. And at that point, I then sort of took about a year off and just sort of lived off my Bitcoin profit for a while before moving into more just sort of regular businesses. I ran an e-commerce business for a while, and I run a couple of VPN companies. And then Doglord, who is one of the other founders of Bezoge, we've known each other for a few years in Shenzhen in China and from the gym really. And we've been good friends for a while. And we were out for coffee one night and he was trading all these dog coins. Like I believe he bought like $700 of Sanshu. And I remember him telling me it was worth like $1.8 million. And I was like, dude, you turned $700 into 1.8 million. And he's like, yeah. He said, I've done it 3 times on 3 different meme coins. And I was like, dude, like me and one of my developers we were developing some blockchain code for a potential ICO a few years back. And I was like, well, I have blockchain developers and developers that can do, I was in a gaming company, my business partner's in a gaming company. We have software development experience. Doglord had the crypto experience. And I was like, well, we should do our own coin. Because we knew that we could do really good development because I have the power to do the development and the marketing. And Doglord had all the crypto experience, the most recent crypto experience, right? My crypto experience is from a long time ago. But I knew what it could do because of what we had done years back. So we decided, let's put Bezoge together, and we pulled 2 all-nighters in a row, me and my development team and Doglord. We coded it all up, coded the website and everything, and launched it. And it basically went from nothing to like a 200 million market cap in like a week. You couldn't believe it.
And how long ago was that? That was back in what, April or May?
I think it was April, either April or May. Yeah, one of the two. I can't remember the month that we launched. I could go and look at the contract. I think
it was prior to May Day. I know that.
I think it was April. I think it was like the 14th of April or something like that. Yeah. It's been a long ride because we went from being 200 million down to 9, and now we're back at about 62. But
yeah, you guys,
we were at 20 something this morning, right?
Yeah, and pretty much the entire summer floating around that range, in the high teens and low 20s, and then I happened to see today, and I bought in that lull over the summer, in the teens and 20s a couple of different times, and it was great to see the big pump today all the way up into the 60s. I think it even hit the 80s at one point. I don't know if that was just a bot.
Yeah, no, we reached. I think we reached 87, something like that.
Wow,
was the peak
great
today. Yeah. It's at 61 and 62 now. Yeah, 61 or 62 now.
There's a lot going on with your project, right? Why don't we talk a little bit about some big thing getting dropped next week?
We do. We have the alpha release of our play to earn game, which is called Legends of Bezogia. It's based in a world called Bezogia, and basically everything in the game is based on crypto. So we have the main city in the center of the map called Bullish. As you can imagine why it's called Bullish. And inside Bullish is a place called Bull Market. And then we have Triple Top Mountain, which is where bullish is situated. And triple top is basically, it's a chart pattern, right? If you look at charts and you get a triple top chart. So we're basing like all the mountain names on chart patterns because they look kind of the same, right? So we're going to design the mountains to look like charts, and then we're going to call them the name of that type of chart. It's kind of a funny thing that we're doing. All the weapons and items in the game are named after crypto things. So we're going to have like the hard fork. We have the green candle. We have what is it? We have there's a hammer called the block breaker. There's a red candle that's for the enemies. So basically what we're trying to do, we actually have, I don't know if any of you have seen it, but we created a flying whale there's a flying whale in the game, and his name is Elon Musk. So it's a big whale, but it's got Elon Musk's face. So it's Elon Musk. He just flies around, sort of makes some noises, you know, and maybe spurts out a tweet or two every now and then. But yeah, I mean, that's basically what we're trying to do, is build a game that is a mainstream game that's really fun. So the Bezogi NFTs that you can buy, you can actually rent them out. And what's different, there's a few rental platforms for NFTs, but usually they require you to put down some sort of collateral in order to rent the NFT. So you would put down some ETH, right, and you would rent it. What we're doing is very different. What we're doing is actually decentralizing the rental process, but also making it completely free for the person that rents the NFT. So you'll come in, you'll rent an NFT. You'll basically open up the game as a regular player, someone that doesn't own a blockchain wallet, doesn't know anything about crypto. You'll open up the game, you'll click a button and it'll make a wallet for you. It'll save the private key into your, or the seed phrase, just into your iCloud keychain or into your Android key store, whatever you do, because it's not going to have high value assets in there yet, right? It's a low value wallet. And then you'll just select a Bezogi and you'll start playing. And all you'll have to do is sign a transaction, which doesn't cost any gas, right? And then as you're playing the game, everything that you earn within the game, and the goal of the game is to kill enemy memes, right? So we have Shib in there, we have Doge, we're going to have Pepe the Frog, we have, I'm trying to think who else we have as enemies. So far we have 4. I think we have Doge, Shib, Pepe the Frog, and we're going to have Feg, so a big gorilla. And basically you go around killing these enemy memes to rid the world of other memes. And when you kill them, they break down into blocks that you collect that you can sell on the open market, right? They're going to be 8 different cryptocurrencies, 8 different colored blocks. But basically, if you've rented a Bezogi, everything that you earn, you'll give a percentage of it to the person that owns it. So you can come in, you'll literally just sign a transaction, not pay any gas. Everything that you earn goes into a smart contract wallet. So if you want to spend it, all you have to do is sign a transaction to spend it. So you're never going to have to pay for any gas to do transactions. We'll pay the gas for you, and we'll take a cut of the transaction to pay for the gas, to cover the gas fees. So someone can come in that doesn't know anything about crypto, earn some money, and we've sort of flipped the concept on its head in that most crypto games you have to spend money in order to play. You have to buy the NFTs in order to play, right? There's a barrier to entry. You need to understand what crypto is. You need to buy some crypto and then buy an NFT so you can play. But what we're doing is allowing mainstream regular people to play, then earn money. Once they've earned the money, they're much more incentivized to find a way to cash it out, right? If I'm sitting with $500 that I've earned over a few months in my account, I'm going to find a way to open a Binance account or find a way to open a Kraken account or whatever it is, right? I'm going to work it out. And the goal is actually to integrate, sorry, I'll let you speak, but the goal is to integrate DeFi technologies into the game. So you'll be able to, it'll most likely be on Polygon Network. At the moment, it's sort of 99% that will be on Polygon Network. Our NFTs are on Polygon Network. But you'll be able to walk up to a market stall in the game and interact with a QuickSwap contract. So you'll be able to go up and say, I want to sell like 100 blocks and switch it for ETH. And you'll just walk up to a market stall in the game. You'll switch 100 blocks for however much ETH. And you'll do that. So you'll be using DeFi, you'll be using all these different technologies. We might have like Aave in there, and you'll be able to walk up to a market stall and borrow some ETH, borrow some USDT for your blocks. And so we'll be integrating these DeFi technologies into the game. So people that are not even into crypto will start using Aave, right? They'll start using QuickSwap, maybe Uniswap if we have ETH network on there as well. So things like this, that's the whole goal of the game, is to bring non-crypto people into crypto. That's why everything in the game is based on crypto. They'll be talking about the hard fork that they minted, right? They'll be talking about the green candle that they have, all this sort of stuff, and walking around in bullish. So yeah, that's sort of the goal of the game, is to educate people about crypto, make it very easy entry to crypto without it. So we want people to play the game without even realizing they're playing a crypto game. And subconsciously, they're learning all these crypto phrases.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I mean, you have the opportunity to really target mainstream gamers, and then they'll be learning these terms without even knowing that they're crypto related, right? The triple top mountain or whatever, and the hard fork, and then all of a sudden it's you expose them to this, and they say, hey, I want to. I'm making this money by playing this game. What else can I do in crypto? And then as they start exploring more, you can see them saying, oh, wait, that's what that reference in that game was, right? And as they start learning, I think it's really cool the way that you're doing that. And you talked about other games where you can't really do that. You can't just download the game and start playing. Like, I mean, I remember months ago I was looking at Axes and said, what is this exactly? And I'm like, wait, I need to buy 3 of these things to start playing it? And I'm like, that just doesn't. And they cost hundreds of dollars each. Like, it made no sense to me. And I was like, well, what does the game even look like? And if I could just play the game for a few minutes and see if I like it, and then decide if I want to buy it, then I might be willing to do that. But no, that's not an option, right? So the fact that you eliminated that barrier to entry, I mean, I think that can really appeal to more potential players.
Well, it's actually the reason that we decided to do decentralized renting is sort of because of Axes. But I looked at Axes, I wanted to play it as well, right? And then I thought, I'm not going to spend $900 on 3 Axes just to test it out. And then I looked into it and I started thinking, because 60% of their users are in the Philippines. And I started thinking, how the hell, sorry, I don't know if I can say that on this podcast. I'm assuming I can, but how the heck?
You can say whatever you want.
You're good. We're explicit.
How the hell can these Filipinos who don't earn very much, right? The average salary in the Philippines is not very much. They don't have much money. How are they spending $1,000 almost on 3 Axes to play this game? And then the more I looked into it, I realized that there was this sort of big monopoly and sort of like a pyramid scheme behind Axe's success. There was one big gaming guild in the Philippines that started it off. They bought a whole load of Axes and they started renting them out. So they were renting them out, but they were literally signing contracts with people and getting their IDs, right? They were actually transferring them the NFTs and trusting that they won't steal them because they have their ID, right? And they called them scholars. So it's called the scholarship program. And then it got to the point that you had KPIs, like you had targets that you had to hit every day, otherwise you had to give your NFTs back. And once you reached a certain amount of income, you became a manager. And then once you became a manager, you were earning like a certain percentage of income of the people that you were managing. So you would have scholars underneath you as a manager. And so like the scholars would play, they'd give you a cut, and then you would give your cut to the main company as well. So it was just this huge pyramid scheme that created Axe's success. And we thought, how can we replicate that, but make it on-chain and completely trustless, right? Just make it completely decentralized. There's no messing around. Axes can't really do it because they didn't create that rental market. The rental market created itself. And so the people that are doing the renting haven't got any way to change the code of the game, right? But because we can change the code of the game, and we can say, actually, we can accept rented Bezogis. So the NFT doesn't actually have to be in that person's wallet in order to use it. There just has to be proof that it's being rented, right? we're able to allow people to use rented Bezogis without actually having to give them the NFT. So the person that's renting doesn't actually have to have the NFT in their wallet at all. They just have to have access to it, right? They just have to have proof that they have access to it.
Yeah,
It makes it a
and so
lot
just to clarify,
easier.
a point that you made is the contracts that were being signed for the scholarship program, right? That's not a crypto contract. We're not talking about an NFT
No.
contract or something. That is a you know, a
Physical
legal
bit
document
of paper.
that is physically being signed.
Yeah. And people did steal some NFTs, of course, right? Some people will have stolen them. I don't know the
Yeah.
data on it, but I imagine some people will just steal them, right? And because there's also some decentralized rental platforms. I told you about them, but you put up collateral, right? So if I want to rent, let's say I want to rent 3 axes, and they're $300 each, I would put up some collateral in order to rent them, right? But let's say it's double, right? So maybe I would put up 1.6K for these $800 axes that I rent. But then the person that's renting them out, all they have is the collateral, right? So what if that NFT suddenly goes up 10x? The person that rented it is just going to sell it, right? I mean, why would I give it back? I would rather take the 8K and lose my 1.6 than hand it back to the person that rented it to me. So all these decentralized renting platforms that are coming up and saying, "Hey, put your collateral to rent these NFTs," I think there's still big risk there, right? I mean, if the NFT suddenly goes up in value, which they do quite often, the person that rents it is just going to sell it and lose their collateral because they're going to make more money that way. So as an owner,
Well,
I'm at a really high risk by renting it out.
isn't this a similar issue to something like Aave? I mean, Aave obviously isn't for NFTs, but I feel like it's the same kind of issue that you have there.
To a certain extent, but this is actually like an investment, right? If you're putting on Aave, you can take it back whenever you want. I think
No. I understand what you mean. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
when
It's
an
a little
NFT,
bit different. Yeah.
they literally get your NFT. It's in their wallet.
Yeah.
They don't get a staked version of it or anything like that. They actually get your NFT. Because it's non-fungible, right? It could suddenly go up a crazy amount in value, and it's the only one. Whereas on Aave, because they're fungible, they can give you any ETH back, right? They don't need to give you the ETH that you put in back. That's what makes it a bit different. Where when it's an
I
NFT,
see what you're
the
saying. Yeah,
person
that makes
literally
sense.
needs to give you the exact token that you gave them back. When it's Aave, you could give any tokens back.
I think what you have planned is really absolutely amazing. I had no idea that you guys had these integrations planned. That's marvelous. I guess I should be buying more QuickSwap tokens.
Some more QuickSwap tokens, because we're going to have QuickSwap in our game. I mean,
I think right now, and this is something we talked about in the last episode. If you haven't watched that, go back and listen to it. But we talked about how Polygon hasn't really taken off as much as we would have thought that Polygon would take off. And what we're, at least I think Krusty and I are expecting, is that once your game launches and once a few other games on Polygon launch, Polygon will be massive. It seems clear to me that it's going to be the best platform for games that anyone's made so far.
I think so. If they don't keep increasing their gas fees, but it's now public why they had to increase their gas fees, right? Someone was manipulating their books. Because the gas was so cheap, someone was actually able to just clog up the network every time there was a big trade going on, and then do arbitrage. So there was a bot that was sort of manipulating Polygon for a few months, and I think it made a few $1 million. It was making $6,000 a day just by clogging up the network. So like you get front running bots on Uniswap, right? They were doing the same on QuickSwap, but they were just filling the entire chain, right? They would just fill the entire block. So they would guarantee that transaction, their transaction was going to go through first, because it was so cheap, right? They were like, well, it only costs us like 10 cents to fill the entire block. So they were like, well, we'll just fill the block. And that's why Polygon recently just increased their minimum gas to 30 Gwei. which caused their price to go down a little bit, right? Because people were a bit confused as to say, why have you suddenly increased the minimum gas? That's kind of the whole point of Polygon, that it's basically free, right? I mean, the gas fees are essentially zero. But that's why, because someone had essentially, they hadn't hacked it, but they had found a way that they could manipulate the order books, right? They were just filling the transactions.
No, I think that makes sense. And I know why they had to do that. But at the same time, I still think that their gas is cheap enough that it makes sense that if you're trying to make a game where there's going to be a lot of transactions, this is the platform you're going to want to do it on.
Oh, definitely. But that's what I'm saying. I think that their price is only held back because their network was all clogged up.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, I agree.
Once they find a solution, because when we were doing our NFT sale, we actually noticed it, right? That sometimes the network would just basically freeze. And we didn't know why. We were like, why does nothing go through suddenly? And it's because of that one guy that was manipulating QuickSwap. So basically, yeah, I think it's a great technology, and we've been working with them. We made a partnership with them. If they can solve this problem, it's going to be great. And I'm pretty confident that they will solve this problem. Increasing the gas fees is just a temporary solution.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure that there's going to be a better way around it that will be found at some point soon. And I think that it'll definitely explode at some point after that.
Yeah, and we'll be doing sort of like, not necessarily like ZK rollups, but something similar, in that we'll be storing transactions and then we'll be pushing them all at once. When we have the game, like when you kill an enemy and it breaks down into 10 blocks and you collect those 10 blocks, we won't, send you one by one those blocks, right? We'll combine those transactions maybe once a minute or once every 10 minutes, and then send you them, so because we're going to pay the gas on behalf of the user, right? They're not going to be paying any gas fees. So
I was about to ask you about that. I was going to ask who's paying for the gas for when you get items and such, but if that's the case, then that's marvelous.
Well, what we're actually doing is, it's going to be kind of interesting, because we're doing a smart contract wallet in between. So all we actually have to do is give the smart contract wallet the ability to mint blocks. And what will happen is when you earn blocks in the game, all we'll do is we'll update the data within the smart contract to say how many blocks you have. And then when you click withdraw, it'll mint them. So it allows us to basically once every minute just update how many blocks everyone has. We don't need to do any minting. We don't need to do anything else. And then when you withdraw, we mint. That's how I believe we're going to do the technology.
And so then that's the only time that there's a gas fee?
There would be a gas fee every time we updated that number. But I mean, It would be a very small gas fee, right? It's not like we would have to do a whole load of minting and different transactions to send to multiple wallets or anything. It would just be one transaction every 5-10 minutes. And it would update the amount of blocks that each user has, or each wallet has. And then when they withdraw, there'll be a gas fee.
I see.
And we would take a cut of the blocks in order to cover the gas fee. But that gas fee would be almost zero, right? I mean, if it's once every 5 or 10 minutes on Polygon, and we pay like 2 cents for gas fees, I mean, it's not going to be crushing to us, That's the main reason we're on Polygon, right? We can't run a game like that on ETH. It just wouldn't work.
No, absolutely not. So I've got another question then. I own a couple of Bezogi, and I bought in when I got the pets with them. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Oh, the pets. Yeah, I can hear the pets. So what happened with the pets is actually also a little bit interesting. So we kind of made a mistake, and we owned up to it. There was literally one word in the code was wrong, and it was our fault. We didn't spot it in testing, and so we knew we had to make a new smart contract to fix the NFTs, and we knew we were going to have to airdrop everyone their new NFTs. But instead of just throwing the other ones in the trash, we thought we can make these into something fun, right? And we'd always wanted to have pets in the game, so like something that would follow your character around. And we saw this as a good opportunity because everyone already had these NFTs in their wallet. We can update the metadata, which we've not done yet, actually. We're still modeling the pet to make them look really good. But we'll update the metadata and give people pets. So we gave people new NFTs, and the old NFTs would turn into pets. So it's just a little. It was just a little bonus. So because we kind of messed up a little bit, we thought let's turn this into a little bonus for everyone and turn it into a positive. And we turned the old NFTs into pets, and then we airdropped new Bezogi NFTs to everyone. So everyone that bought in before we did a snapshot, and everyone that bought in before the snapshot, we gave them new NFTs, and they got to keep their pets.
So for people who have the pets, can they rent out the pets as well?
We've not actually looked into that yet. Maybe is the answer to that.
Okay.
More than likely, at some point, yes, I would say, but not necessarily in the beginning. In the beginning, the focus will be rental of the Bezogis themselves.
That's what I figured.
Because the
That's
pets will be quite
curious.
limited edition. Like they can't be. The Bezogis, much like Axes, where you can breed, we have a similar function called summoning. The reason it's called summoning is because we have babies, so we didn't want to have like breeding of babies. You know, we didn't think that would be very politically correct. So even though they're dogs, you know, it's kind of, you know, people get offended by everything nowadays, so in the nicest way possible. So we decided let's not have breeding babies. That's not something that we want to have. Yeah, so we called it summoning. And so you can use two Bezogis to summon another Bezogi. But for the pets, they're not summonable. So there's literally only the 4,096 that were available in the initial sale. That's all there will ever be. You can still buy them now, actually. You can still mint them. They're not sold out yet.
That's marvelous.
But there's the only ones that will ever be available. So if there's tens of thousands or millions of Bezogis and people playing the game, there'll still only be 4,000 pets. So they're quite limited edition, like collectibles.
So you mentioned that there's babies in the game. How did the age stages work?
So the age stages are actually fixed. The age of your Bezogi will never change. If you have a baby, it'll always be a baby. If you have an old man, it'll always be an old man. And basically, it was all randomized. So 25% of all the Bezogis are babies, 25% are children, 25% are adults, and 25% are old men. Well, old, not necessarily old men. Old non-binary Bezogis.
Right.
And so is there some sort of difference in their abilities or stats in the game?
Yes, we're actually looking into it now. In the alpha version that's coming out next week, they'll all be the same. But we're thinking that we will adjust that. We'll adjust that through testing, and they'll all have slightly different stats, but we don't want anyone to be weaker than the other necessarily. So what we're going to be doing is decreasing some stats, but increasing others. So like maybe the old man will be a little bit slower, but his healing might be a little bit higher, and his attack might be a little bit higher, right? Because he's got more experience. Things like that. So they'll all have slightly different stats, but very little difference. I mean, I think maybe like 5 to 10% difference maximum. They'll be pretty much the same.
Well, I think this is really great. I'm in the Bezoge community, and as you know, and I follow along with what you guys are doing. I'm really excited about the game, and so I mean, I wish you guys the best of luck. I'm going to be both an investor and a player of the game, and you know, I hope this really takes off. You know, I think it has huge potential, and blockchain gaming in general does, right? I mean, I was Googling, I Googled these numbers, so they must be right. Last year, the video gaming industry brought in $155 billion in revenue, right? And they expect it to be 260 by 2025, right? So, I mean, all these games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, and whatever else. I mean, even things, stupid time wasters on your phone like Candy Crush. People are spending hours and hours. I mean, like hundreds of hours a month playing video games sometimes, right? So, I mean, and these are games that have no return unless you're a Twitch streamer or you're like making how-to videos or reviews on YouTube. You're not making any money off of it. It's just these false impressions of a gain or an accomplishment in the game that's being realized. And so, I mean, if you could take those gamers that are on consoles or PC or mobile and turn them on to something like this in the blockchain where they're actually earning money instead, why would you ever go back to regular gaming, right? So I think there's
that's my
huge
belief,
potential. Yeah, and I think there's huge potential in this industry, and I think I think people are just waiting for a game that will be enjoyable to play and have good graphics and just I think that this could be it, and so I'm really looking forward to it, and I think the sky's the limit. So.
Oh, well, like I said last week, I think that until we see Valve make hat NFTs or Counter-Strike weapon skin NFTs, we're still really, really early into this space. I think that's ultimately where we're going to get to, where a lot more mainstream type companies are going to be doing gaming NFTs at some point in the future. We're still really, really early where we are right now.
I believe Minecraft has NFTs, right? I may be wrong about that. I seem to remember they did some sort of NFT project. You can look into that. I think Minecraft has something, but no one really knows about it.
So that's a mod that was created to go with a specific server that people play on. They made NFT weapons, which I thought was really kind of neat, and it's definitely doable. I've actually looked into it a little bit just because I was curious if we would be able to do something like that just for our group, just in case we wanted to have a Minecraft server at some point. And then I was like, well, if we had a Minecraft server, it would be cool if we had custom NFTs that you could get. And I looked that up just to see if anybody else had done it. And yeah, somebody has. My understanding is that's not like official. It's not from
it wasn't done by the creators of Minecraft themselves. It was done by the
exactly. Yeah, so it's a mod that implements that kind of functionality, which is still pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think you'll see more and more of it. Even though it's kind of scarce, it's a completely different business model to what these companies are used to. Although they can still make a lot of money out of NFT sales, and then most of the revenue will most likely come from the trading of the NFTs, though, right? And that's where it becomes sort of like an infinite revenue stream. Like people will just constantly be trading NFTs because you're never just going to burn one, right? You would just get rid of it. You would just sell it, and there's always someone that wants to buy it for the right price. If you sell it cheap enough, someone will want to buy it, even if the game is not that popular. There'll be someone playing that's willing to pay something for it, right? So.
Oh, I know, and you can imagine with his. I hate to say anti-consumer, but I'm going to say anti-consumer as EA is. You could imagine a Star Wars Battlefront game where there's only one Darth Vader and you have to own that NFT, and EA is going to auction it off, and it's going to go for an insane amount of money because, of course, that's something they would do. Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, no, someone would pay for it.
And I like NFTs, but like one of my co-founders, Doglord, sorry, he's really been into NFTs for a long time, like for over a year or so. And he kept telling me, hey, you should buy some NFTs. And I said, stop being an idiot. Like, you're just buying a picture, you know? And then when I saw gaming NFTs, that actually made sense to me. Because I think some NFTs do make sense. When you've got NFTs for things like luxury products and you have, let's say you buy a Rolex and Rolex gives you an NFT to say you own this Rolex. And then when you sell it, you can transfer that NFT to someone else as like proof of ownership. I think things like that make sense when it's proof of authenticity and proof of ownership of a real product. And to trace the ownership as well, right? So that's a good idea for NFTs. I think gaming also makes a lot of sense, of course, right? Because you're literally earning and creating in-game assets that you can actually own in your wallet, and I think that's incredible. But when it's just pictures of, some pixels, I still don't get that. And I don't think I ever will get that, right? But when it comes to gaming, I think NFTs are incredible.
Yep, and you raise another good point. In terms of going back to what I was saying with traditional gaming and how it differs, most games, if you go to sell your account or sell an item or sell a character or whatever it may be to someone else in the game, it's usually against their terms of service. You have to go through a third party to do it. And you take the risk of being banned from the game, right? And then losing your whole account. And, it's just it's a huge risk. But with NFT gaming and things on the blockchain, that's all welcomed, right? And there's a built-in mechanism to handle those transactions. So I think that's great.
Yeah,
That's another great aspect.
A friend of mine, an angel investor in one of my previous companies, actually made all of his money. Well, not all of his money, but he's made his first riches, his first millions. And in fact, I think he mentioned to me that he made over $1 billion doing this. Actually, this is a big player. He made all his money in a platform for buying and selling World of Warcraft weapons, like 10 years ago, maybe even more than 10 years ago. So back when World of Warcraft was huge, right, and people were doing huge trading volumes of weapons, he made a platform for Chinese people to buy and sell weapons, and it was the largest platform in the world. And he said they were just making like tens of millions of dollars a month, because in trading volume, and this is 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. So just imagine what the trading volumes would be now if they were, especially if it was allowed. At that point, that was against the terms of service, right? And it was still, he made $1 billion out of it. And then now you're talking about making it in the terms of service of the game, like it's completely accepted. It's going to be insane how much people are trading.
Oh, absolutely. You were talking earlier about people setting up companies to play these games and try to make money off of them. And all I'm thinking is that your game's going to be huge because all the Venezuelans who are currently playing RuneScape to sell gold are going to move over to playing Bezogia.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's the goal. Our goal is to target third world countries, or countries that can make more by playing our game than they can by working. So it's places like Philippines, Pakistan, Venezuela, places like that, where they're actually going to make more money playing our game than they would by going to work. And it's a way to help them out essentially as well, right? So,
yeah, absolutely.
I've never even thought about that aspect of it. That's incredible too.
Well, that's our goal. We want to kind of get it to the point that you can make about $20 a day playing the game, which in a lot of countries is enough to live off. Yeah, quite a lot of countries, actually. You'd be surprised. To be honest, if you were in the US and you lived at home, you could probably live off $20 a day as well, right? If you lived with your parents or something, you would probably be fine. So especially a lot of teenagers and people like that, right? If they can earn $20 a day playing a game, their summer holidays, all they're going to do is play Bezogia, right? That's all they're going to do.
No, if I was a teenager again and I had the opportunity to play games and make money, that's what I'd be doing. I think that's a lot of teenagers, and this will be huge.
I think that's the key, that we're not actually giving people money essentially, right? We're giving them in-game assets that are worth money, and we're not making them have any barrier to entry. It's completely zero barrier to entry to play the game, other than to have a PC or a mobile phone that can run the game, right? Which everyone has anyway. And that's it. You just download it, click to open a wallet, and then you start playing. You rent a Bezogi and you start playing.
So if I have some
cash out, then you find a way to cash out. You probably get your parents to do it or whatever it is.
Yeah. So if I have some Bezogis and I'm looking to rent them out, what would that process look like from my side?
I think very similar to, we've not actually coded it out yet or actually developed the UI or anything, because that's going to be early next year. But it should be something very similar to like Aave. You'll literally just stake your NFT into a smart contract. You'll get back like a staked Bezogi, like you would get staked ETH back, right? You would get Aave ETH, and that's it. You'll put it in there, and that's it. And as soon as someone rents it, you'll have an income within that smart contract, a balance that you can withdraw. So you'll be able to go to our website, look, and it'll say you have 10 red blocks, you have 100 gold blocks, whatever it is, right? And you'll have all these different blocks that the percentage of the player that was renting your Bezogi had earned, right? And then you'll just be able to withdraw it, and that's it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's extremely simple, right? It's not actually it's not so complex. We're trying to keep it as simple as possible for everyone.
So Jeff, You mentioned that there are, and I am cognizant of the time of night that it is for you. So we will be wrapping up soon. But you mentioned that there's about 300 Bezogis left to mint. Can you want to tell our listeners how they can go about doing that?
Yeah, if you go to bezogia.com, that's the easiest way. I think maybe in your podcast you can add a link to our Telegram group or our Discord channel. If you go in there, there's a lot of people in the community that will happily help guide people how to do it. But it's very simple. As long as you have wrapped ETH on the Polygon network, they're currently 0.096 ETH each, and the sale ends on Monday. We've not made an official announcement about this yet, but we will be announcing that the sale is going to end on Monday. Whether they're sold out or not, we're going to end the sale. And I do have I have a holder that has been messaging me saying he wants to buy 180 of them. So people will have to be quick. I think you can probably guess who that is. If you're in the community already, you can probably guess who that is.
That must be Bobby.
It's definitely it is Bobby. He messaged me today and said how much is. He doesn't want to buy the highest price range, but he said how many are left at the current price, and I think there's 182. And he said I'll take them all. He said, can he just send me ETH and if I airdrop them to him instead? And I said that's fine. I'm happy to do that for someone that's, because otherwise he'd have to make 19 different wallets because there's a 10 Bezogi per wallet limit, right? So people have to be quick.
So would it be possible to just
them all up?
would it be possible to just eliminate that 10 per wallet cap, or is that built into the contract?
It's hard coded in, yeah, unfortunately.
Okay.
I wish we had made that something that we could adjust, but we didn't. So it's hard coded in, unfortunately. You can have more than 10 per wallet, but you can't buy more than 10 per wallet in the sale. Does that make sense? You can't mint more than 10 per wallet. But once they're transferable at the end of the sale, you'll be able to put them all into one wallet. That's fine. But during the
that's
sale,
an
you can't
important
buy
distinction.
more than.
Yeah, and then also once you're playing the game and summon, then that also that 10 cap limit is irrelevant as well.
Yes, exactly. You could have 10,000 in one wallet. That's completely fine. I have I think at the moment I have 700 over 1,000 in one wallet, but it's pets between pets and Bezogis, right? We have some that were kept for the treasury. I think there's 350 Bezogis and 750 pets, and they're all in one wallet. So yeah, you can have that. There's no hard limit on how many you can have per wallet.
And so what are the plans for that? What's the point of you having those Bezogis to yourself?
Yes, well, they're not actually for us. They're for making partnerships with gaming guilds. So we're in discussions with a few gaming guilds, and they told us that they'll have a requirement for how many NFTs they would need in order to support us as a game. So we need to have a lot of NFTs available that we can give to gaming guilds in order to make partnerships. That's number one. And also we want to do giveaways for the community. So we already gave away about 20 of the Bezogis that we were holding ourselves. So they're not just for us. They're for giveaways, and they're all and for marketing to give to influencers. And they're also for gaming guilds for partnerships. We're not going to be opening any of them ourselves. I think we're taking, as the founding team, I believe we're going to take one each, and then that's it. We bought some as well ourselves, of course, right? But we're gonna take one each from the treasury, and that's it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's good that the people listening who may question that got that answer. So, but
yeah, they're not for us. They're definitely not for us.
All right. Well, we're at about an hour, and I think this was a great discussion, and yeah, I think we could probably wrap up there unless there's anything else, any last minute thoughts or questions.
There's one thing I would also want to say. We just made an announcement today that we're going to be doing a buyback as well. So for the entire NFT sale, which so far is about 160 ETH, we're going to take 20% of that and use it to buy back Bezoge. And that's an ongoing buyback initiative that we have. We have a goal within the development team that we want to buy back about 20% of the entire supply. And so all of the in-game revenue, so revenue from trading of NFTs, any in-game revenues that we have, including NFT sales as well. So 20% of that 160 ETH is used to buy back Bezoge. And in the future, we have a revenue stream that is from the trading of the NFTs, like 5% of the trading. We have a royalty. So all of that, 20% will be used to buy back Bezoge as well. And we'll constantly do that until we reach about 20% that we own in our wallet. So that's a way that we can sort of link the profit and the success of the game directly back to the token.
That is great. That is great. I know that in previous discussions that was an area of concern, and just not necessarily concern, but question how that's going to impact the native token to the game. And yeah, I mean, that sounds like a great solution.
Yeah,
really creative.
It should. There's also I should share. Maybe let me copy and paste it into your group, because I have. Hope you don't mind me shilling in your group.
Not at all.
I don't know if
Feel
anyone.
free.
I don't know if everyone
ahead.
saw it, but we released a video today of the of a Bezogi killing a ship and dancing on its body. I don't know. I don't know if any of you saw that.
I did see that. It was pretty entertaining. I might have to ban you from our group for shilling and spamming, but but no, you're welcome to share.
All right, guys, this has been a really enjoyable discussion. Jeff, I would like to thank you again for joining us at such a late hour and telling us all about your project. And of course, if people want to get more information, just a reminder, you can go to Bezoge.com to find out about the token, and then Bezogia.com to find out about the Legends of Bezogia game. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This has been Memecoin Mooners Moonbase, episode 4. Thanks for listening.
If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor on a future podcast, please email us at admin@moonbase.show. And as always, join our off-the-air discussions in Telegram by visiting memecoinmooners.group.